Do your stamps ever get dirty, maybe even rusty? It doesn't happen that often, but we just shot a class showing you what to do if it does.
It's pretty rare that you get rust, but if you live near the ocean or something and it's happening, it's not a big deal. We're going to show you how to clean it off, how to prevent it from coming back. And again, this was shot as a Facebook Live video. It was tons of fun, and we've edited it here for you. So if you're watching it on YouTube, maybe give us a thumbs up if you like it, and leave a comment if you have a question, and we'll get back to you. Let's check it out. Mel, talk to them about what we're doing today.
We are going to talk about rust and how your stamps can get rusty. It really depends on where you live and how you store them. I know I've had a lot of experience with rust because I live by the ocean. Sometimes I think it's not even just humidity, but it can be more salty air. So I've noticed that. Sometimes the humidity won't matter if it's just warm but not salty.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to talk about storage ideas, how to clean the rust, and also to let you know that rust is not awful. I mean, rust like on the shank and anywhere that's not near the impression is kind of normal. I mean, it can happen over time. Exactly.
But the interesting thing is, the reason we came up with this Facebook Live is because Mel lives by the coast, like she said, and so does her sister Taryn, who co-authored the book with me that just came out, New Stamp Metal Jewelry. And their tools are kind of rusty. And so I thought, well, let's cover this. But then we went and chatted with Laura, who's right over here, our customer service pro, and asked her, like, do you hear this a lot? And she said she really doesn't, right? Like a little bit, but not. It's not like there's a million rusty tools with our customers, right?
Right. It happens, and people know that it's going to happen, and sometimes it's like, oh no, what happened?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It's a tool.
But it's not a like huge thing.
Your tool is not ruined, and it's not anything that you can't fix.
So for the small community of you that have a little rust on your tools, that's what I'm trying to say. There's a small amount of you. That's why we're here today, to show you. So I'm going to walk you through what we do to clean our tools. And like Mel said, just remember, it's a tool like any other tool that you have in your garage that's rusting. So some ways to clean it and some ways to prevent it. So let me first pull up this image. Right here. So this top row that you see in the before are some of Taryn's design stamps. Now I want to point out, if you look at the actual tips of the impression, they're not rusted because she uses them so much. In fact, she used all those in the top row throughout our entire book. And it still stamps fine, but it's just not particularly pretty, and it might be worrisome, the rust. So you don't have to stress about rust. But just with a little bit of cleaning, honestly a little bit, and you'll see in a minute, they look like the lower row there. So that's a little before and after. And what I want to point out is that it still slightly discolors the metal. So so you'll see that the rust slightly discolors the metal, and there's still got little black dots, but the rust is gone, it won't grow, and hopefully you can coat it a little bit in some oil like we'll talk about and keep it from growing or coming back.
One thing that we noticed with the stamps that I took from my sister's house is that a lot of the stamps, the side where it had been put in the wooden case, left in there, was not rusted at all. It was what was exposed to the air, which kind of makes sense. So if you just keep designs, you can always just keep the wooden top on or the plastic top on your letter set. Or with design stamps, you can just have, if you have a holder, purchase another holder, or take a Ziploc baggie. But this I thought was kind of cool. This is like our whole 008. And if you just line them all up, I have various sizes in here, it'll close. And then you won't really have any rust issues. And then just take it off when you are ready to stamp.
Yeah, that's good.
Makes
That helps
sense.
protect it, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a set that Mel showed you. This is Taryn's set, and she kindly gave us her rusty stamps so we could show you. But to her benefit, they're going to come back clean. So like this guy right here, we took it out and we're like, oh, okay. Like all of the bottoms are fine. So it just shows you, maybe keep the lids on, put them in like an airtight bucket when you're not using them. And again, I want to point out that we are right next to the bay. Like I can literally see the bay from our office, the part that comes down to Redwood City, and none of our stamps in our design area are rusted, and we leave them all open. So it's dependent on where you're living. If you want to be safe than, more safe than sorry, definitely keep them covered. We don't, and they haven't rusted. I always put gloves on because on the warning on the different products that I use, and I use WD-40, but I also, well, let's back up. I went to Home Depot, right, and went to the WD-40 section, and there's tons and tons of things to use to get rust off of tools and to also act as a lubricant to keep the rust from coming back. But on all of them, it says, you know, if your skin contacts this product, you should wash it, blah, 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 which for sure, again, safety first. But when I look up the MSDS sheets on their website, it says more like long exposure to skin, no. So you can do with it what you want. I put on gloves, because why not? But with WD-40, I never did before today, and I'm okay.
Just don't take a bath in it.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to not put on gloves. I'm telling you, you are an adult. You can make your own decisions. So I tested last week all 3 of these. This is the 3-in-1 fast-acting penetrant, which frees rusts and prevents rust. This is the blaster. It's kind of awesome. Look at breaks loose faster. And WD-40. And honestly, they all worked exactly the same for me. I'm going to demo with WD-40 because it was the least stinky and it's the most common.
I think you're
that
right.
You might already have it. So I've just got some rubber gloves here.
But what do you have down here, Lisa?
That is cardboard.
Okay. Yeah, because you probably don't want that, like the WD-40 on your kitchen table.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. Okay, so I'm going to grab the rustiest of rusty here. And let me see if I can get a little close up for you guys. Is that in focus?
That looks pretty good.
See how
pretty
nasty
bad.
it is? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's got the, I don't know if the coloring here, look at the color just totally shifted because of my blue hands. I don't know if you see here that this is pretty reddish colored. All I do is take the WD-40, give it a shake, and I just give a little spritz and then roll it around. So I've got this, I got the head of it in there, and you just sort of let it sit for, I don't know, a couple minutes. Let me do 2. Do we have any really bad design stamps? Let's see. That one's not totally bad. I want a nasty one. Come on, Karen. Give me something. Ooh, that's a good one. Look at that.
Yeah, that is a good one.
So this one isn't really rusty. This is how she marks her tools to make sure that we don't steal them when we borrow them. But this is not particularly rusty all over the tool, but it is on the head of the tool. Again, it hasn't prevented it from working perfectly. There's no rust that's grown on the actual engraved part because she uses it so much. But I'm just going to get that soaking in there. All right, so these 2 have been soaking for a little bit. I'll let those guys sit. From here, you can see, will you grab those paper towels over there, Mel?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Even if I just rub it with my finger, the rust starts to come off. So you can rub it, I mean, I wouldn't do that first. I just wanted to show you. I'm going to put a little more on there. I grabbed steel wool, and I just grabbed the harshest steel wool from the hardware store, but I also did this with medium and fine. Totally worked fine. Don't feel like you have to go get a specific steel wool. And just rub. See that? How it's already just coming right off?
Oh, yeah.
Now, WD-40 says it's also a rust preventative, so just by coating it in WD-40, you've already gotten ahead of the game.
Oh, that's cool. I really don't detect any smell at all either.
It's really not, but I'll tell you what, these other one, that 3-in-1,
Were stinky.
woo-wee, stinky. All right, so you can do that with your steel wool, or if you have a steel brush, which we do sell, and we'll put a link up there for you, you can also use that. So what I like about this is I can really come at the sides. I actually usually use this for the sides. I can use this on the top. Now you don't want to use anything really harsh on the top of your stamps because you don't want to dull the engraved part, right? Like
That
your
makes
design
sense.
or whatever. These bristles are really soft. They are not harder than this stamp. So you don't need to worry about that. If you were to go like this for an hour, maybe. But you don't need to do that. It's just a little bit, just like that. And I like this better on the stamps because the bristles can get in there and really get it off. You
Like
know,
a toothbrush.
I go with the sides. Yes, exactly right. So you can also get the steel wool on there. You want to make sure that no steel wool remains when you're done with this because steel wool will rust. I'm just going to grab a paper towel. This is just happens to be blue, but it's just a basic paper towel, and wipe it off. So now the rust is totally gone. Again, it'll leave it a little bit discolored, but that's just how it's going to be now. And it's gone off of the tip. Okay, so here's the other one that's been soaking, and I'm looking at it and I can tell that the rust is already pretty much gone, but see how dark that is? Just by wiping, all that smear right there is the rust.
Will the stamp remain slippery? Amy wanted to know.
No, because I'm going to wipe it off entirely after this, after I coat it. And a little bit of the WD-40 has soaked into the stamp and will keep it from rusting, but we're going to talk about coating it with another oil afterwards. So I'm just being very thorough here, but this is actually a pretty quick process. It's going to be a pretty quick Facebook Live today.
Mary Ellen had said that she had just opened up a set and there was rust issues on it, so that this was good to be able to see that.
So Mary Ellen, where do you live?
Yeah, I was curious about that too. And was it in a plastic case, a wooden case?
Or no case?
Or no case at all, yeah.
Now, even if you have some that are coated in nickel, that doesn't always take care of it, we have found. So there's not much you can do because the nickel in this case is pitted, but you can't, this one has been cleaned and this one hasn't. So it'll clean it up a little bit, but it's the coating that has been pitted through because of, I mean, where Mel and Taryn live is like a really harsh environment. It's great for surfing though.
Oh, and it's just beautiful for just watching the ocean and drinking wine.
It's worth having a tiny bit of rust.
Yes, it's worth the rust. The price we pay.
So you want to wipe it off. What you don't want to do at this point, and I know this seems ridiculous, you guys, but I did it, is go, oh, this tool's kind of oily. I'm going to wash off the oil with soap and water. I did it when I first started making jewelry. I got my first draw plate. It was coated in oil, and I was like, ew, gross. So I washed it off, and then it started rusting. It was the stupidest thing ever, but that oil that comes, if you get sets or stamps or tools of any kind and it comes coated in oil, it's like that because when they ship it overseas, it will get completely rusted in its transportation over here. So that oil is actually a good thing. Just wipe it off with a paper towel. And
Or you could just leave it.
the oil?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can leave it unless your skin is really sensitive and you never know what that oil is. But so this was the nickel one. It's still pitted, but it's a little, honestly, I think it just got moisturized. I don't think it really took anything off.
But it'll still get a good impression. I think that's the thing. Like even if it looks like you still see something looking dark and the rust is off, but it may have marks on it. It's like sunspots. We're still dynamic, wonderful women. We just have had a little sun.
Yeah, we have. All right, so here's a little close-up. Here's one I haven't cleaned. Here's one I did clean. You can see the difference
yeah,
on the
you
head.
can.
You can see the difference on the sides. So that red stuff is the rust. So did we hear back from Mary Ellen on where she lives? I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
She may be
other-
part of the witness protection program. She can't tell anyone.
She can't tell us. Yeah, she's a spy. So if anybody else has questions, let us know. But see what's happening. See right here, I'm just picking this up because it's on such a close-up. You don't want to leave steel wool on here. I mean, the
yeah.
steel wool is coated now in WD-40, so it's not the end of the world. But steel wool can rust. But just make sure before you put them back
The steel wool's off of
that
it.
you wipe off, you know,
Oh, Mary Ellen's in New York.
by the water. I guess there's different parts of New York.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh yeah. So I've got my gloves off and I just want to show that like there's not a lot of grease on here now, but it definitely feels lubricated. Now, if you're worried about your skin touching the WD-40, which I'm not, because I think they come coated in something that's similar to that anyway, we've been using it all along, then I would say go ahead and coat your tools and your stamps with a lubricating oil. A lot of the lubricating oils, like this guy at the hardware stores, are meant to lubricate tools that you're not really handling, like the inside, like it's got this little point so you can get inside like a gear or something and keep it from rusting. It's not to put like all over a tool that might affect your skin. Again, my skin, I don't really get affected by stuff, but you never really know, right? Like better safe than sorry. So to me, this is fine. I would leave it like this. If you're concerned about the WD-40, wipe some more, and maybe take something like mineral oil or castor oil or something that's readily available at drugstores, and you can coat it with that, especially on the tip here. The one thing I want you to remember though, if you do have oil on your stamps, when you go to stamp, if any of that oil transfers over to your stamped piece, it won't oxidize well, you know, because it's now dirty.
Oh, that's interesting.
So let's say I had a bunch of oil on here and I stamped, you know, this bracelet, whatever, and I would then wash it in soap and water tons, wash, which you should do anyway if you want to get a proper oxidation, so that the oxidation takes and stays.
That makes sense.
Doesn't have oil separating it. What else?
Plus, if you leave the oil on it and then you went to oxidize and then you put a pro polish pad, wouldn't that kind of muck up your pro polish pad too, to have like
Maybe.
oil and
Yeah. So again, this is, I want to show that big box that you showed while we have close up here.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah. This is for people who are having rust issues. If you're not having rust issues, then you're fine. So this is a box that Mel mentioned that we sell, and I would buy 2 of them if you need to for your design stamps, and it just goes right on top. These are pretty inexpensive.
They are pretty inexpensive. I think it's HOL008. I don't, that's the model number. But
And we can pop a link up there for you. So this is just for your
$5 or
stamps.
something, yeah.
Or in our Facebook group, and again, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, go over and do a little search on Facebook for Beaducation.com, metal stamping and beyond, because we got a lot of fun going on in there. Answer 3 questions and then we'll let you in. In our Facebook group, people were asking about, and this is a little off subject, but while we have this here, when they get like the cheaper sets that just come in the plastic, and there's no slots for the letters, they hate it, and I hate it too. You take the N out and the M and the O move together. But we sell a smaller one that is more like this, that comes in a pair. So if you wanted to take those stamps out of the plastic container and put it in a wooden one where everybody has its place, and maybe you mark the letters underneath it, whatever works for you.
just get 2 of those and then that can always sit on top too.
Yeah, well, that comes as a pair. Remember, we just launched it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we'll pop a link up there on there for you as well. So that's a little different situation. More you want every stamp to have their own spot rather than worrying about the rust.
Jackie had wondered if you keep the WD-40 on longer, like if you gave it a bath or did it for 10 minutes, would it take even more rust off or no?
The rust is gone at this point. This is just discoloration of the tool.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know. You don't want to leave it in there too long. This is, the discoloration doesn't really bother me. Think of it as like,
Age spots.
yeah, yeah, we are.
A couple wrinkles.
Couple of wrinkles. You can try it, but you definitely don't want to leave something in one of these too long. I mean, I'm talking days. It could maybe eat away at it, but 10 minutes probably is not harmful. Give it a go. Okay, any other questions come up?
So we already answered the item number for the stamp holders. We're going to throw some links up. But I just wanted to mention, depending on the size of your letter set, you're going to want to compare the size of, and it's in the product description, of what size shank it is, and compare that to the product specs on the holders to make sure it will be a right match, because some stamps are a little bigger,
That
some
makes
are the
sense.
1/4 inch shank, so just make sure they match up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and do we have what size fits in there in the description?
I have to look and see. I think it's just the inch
Because
or millimeters I mentioned.
you need to worry about the diameter measurement of your tool to see if it will fit in a certain size hole. Like this is 1/2 inch, but it might be longer if you look at it from the not the diameter, but the cross.
Diagonal.
That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. But this certain holder that we will put a link up to holds 1/2 inch and 3/8 and smaller.
And smaller, right.
Yeah, just not a big one.
You guys, I also wanted to mention one more thing. I know that most of the times we talk about the stamping group, which you know the exact name for the stamping group, the stamping metal group. Yesterday we had a customer come in to pick up her order of stamps, and she was really excited about her order, and it was so cool. She
It
was
was
from the stamping
fun.
group, and I saw the earring she was wearing, which I had seen a picture on the stamping group.
Yeah, it was cool.
And we all got a photo, and I got to see another necklace that she was wearing, and she was so excited. I looked at the stamp she got, and she was like, I can't wait to go use, the lotus and the new spiral that we have.
Shout out to Janice.
Yes. So I just wanted to say, if you guys hadn't known about the stamping group, it's a great group to join, and it just has lots of feel good,
It does.
positive thoughts. And so I just want to say, hey, Janice, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, our group is fun. So go check for Beaducation.com, metal stamping and beyond. Beaducation.com community, metal stamping and beyond.
And you will find inspiration.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And thanks so much for coming by. Leave your comments below and we will answer any questions you have.
Bye.
Sound good? Bye-bye.